calling Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. This is council meeting 2. We did miss council meeting 1 last week on Thursday. This is our regularly scheduled meeting 2 here in the Selma Jernigan building. We're coming across 6 p.m. We've got a hefty one today. So we are combining what was missed on Thursday with today. But, of course, we have some very special guests with us this evening. To start us off the right way, we've got Pastor Todd Daniels here for an invocation. And again, no stranger to those of us in Selma, North Carolina. Nice. I'm in Selma, North Carolina, January 2019. Pastor Selma Baptist Church. Pastor Todd Daniels has continued his long career in ministry, which includes 17 years as a youth minister. Shortly after arriving, he began a drum ministry for local students that I hear is filling up every summer. Building it from a single summer class into a full downtown studio with 10 drum sets, serving about 20 students each week. Through this program, he teaches teamwork, discipline, creativity, and confidence while using rhythm as a metaphor for staying on beat in life. Mission is simple, impacting lives one beat at a time. Pastor, anything you have to say?
Just blessed to be here. And On Beat just became its own official 501c3. So, yep. So very,
Please stand.
yeah. Right. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, what a blessing it is to share moments like these together. And Lord, we know that sometimes we have to face the challenging topics that pertain to our town, Lord, but we also know that we're really blessed to be here, and we should be thankful that we get to have this time, Lord, where we can come and express our concerns and talk about things that are going to make the town of Selma a better place to live, work, and play. So, Lord, we just pray for unity, Lord. We pray that you'll bless our town with unity. We know that a house divided will not stand. And so, Lord, we pray for unity for our town, because I believe everyone in here has a heart to see our town thrive. We want to see new folks move into this community. We want to see new life continue to flourish in this community, God. So we just pray that you'll bless these efforts, God. We thank you for our leadership. We thank you for all that they do, God, and we just pray your continual blessings on them, and we ask your blessings upon this meeting tonight, God. May you be glorified with all that takes place in here, Lord, and may we remember that you see and know everything, and you know what's in our hearts. So, Lord, let us have hearts that want to please you, God, and be good stewards of what you've entrusted to us when we think about this town. So, Lord, we love you, we thank you, we ask all these things tonight in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Now, I hate to run off and leave, but I got a drum lesson at 7. God bless you guys, okay?
Thank you. Always another special guest with us this evening. Trinity, is it Sky? Governor? Come on up. Trinity is an 8th grade student at Selma Middle School and a proud member of National Junior Honor Society. Fantastic. She enjoys praise, dance, and cheer, loves trying new things, and is always laughing. An only child, a little spoiled, treasures her family. Trinity dreams of becoming a pediatric nurse. Awesome. Her favorite color is red. She is 14 years old. You face the flag, and we will follow your lead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
right. That brings us into taking a look at the agenda. Like I said, we do have quite a hefty one today. What we do have on the agenda, if you notice, it looks a little different as we had discussed in last month's meetings. We have all of these business items up front, public hearings and appeals, and then at the end, we have a consent agenda that mirrors a portion of what is on the business items and public hearings. For the items that, of course, we're actually going to discuss and conversate about, we'll pull some of those items off of consent if we don't think we'll have consent, or if we don't think we'll be approving what that item is as we're going through the agenda. And then beyond that, if there's a council member that does have some concerns or feels that they're not going to be interested in giving an affirmative to the item on the agenda, we pull that off the consent as well. So this just makes it so that things that are pretty straightforward, we can handle all in one vote instead of having to do vote after vote after vote for what amounts to common sense things. So with that, we do have the agenda in front of us. Do we have any additions, subtractions that need to be made? Walk us through those.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, there has been a request to add item 11A, a resolution regarding the retirement of Chief of Police Jamie Hughes. That also includes a surplus item as well.
Glad we talked about that. Very cool. Anything else of note that needs to be added, possibly subtracted, you know of? All right, fantastic. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I have a request of the clerk to explain a little bit about how things will be removed from the consent agenda. I think there's been some confusion about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, this is not the time for this. So we have I'm looking for a motion and a second, and then we can discuss as part of approval of the agenda, and then.
That's fine, I just don't want us to miss it.
So, motion to approve the agenda is amended.
So moved.
Second.
All right. So then discussion about the actual approval of the agenda, and then there's a question for the clerk.
Yes. It's a question from some of the community members didn't understand why things were under business and under consent. Because not everything under consent is under business. So at what point do we need to pull those things from consent that are not under business for discussion?
I can answer that.
I was
So,
asking the clerk.
As you
actually.
go through the agenda, as we get to an item, and the question will be, is it all right if we leave this on consent? If not everybody's all right with leaving it on consent, you say, I think we need to take it off consent, and then we can take it up at that point for the item.
You understand, William?
This is a total change than what we've been doing.
It is, it really is. It's quite a
So
bit of
as
change.
long as you're allowing me, if we get to it and we want to take it off, we take it off.
So for instance, in the start of this conversation, as we're talking about what we're probably going to look at a little more carefully, when we get down to our public hearing related to Lizzie Mill Road, I don't believe that's actually on the consent agenda at all, because I do believe there's going to be some significant discussion about that. And then there's a couple of other items that I think we'll probably go ahead and pull off of consent as well. But just so that we have the option of having it on consent and make sure it's listed in both sections so that the public can clearly see what's going on, we have those items listed.
And just so you know, I'm looking at pulling 6 off the consent.
Mayor, one thing for the record, 2093 Lizzie Mill Road is listed on consent. That's not G.
Okay, and so we'll look to pull that off as we get to it.
So once we approve the agenda, that does not mean that we have voted in a positive for anything in consent.
That is
That was the
correct.
question.
We'll get down to the consent agenda, and then instead of it being at the beginning, it's at the end.
You understand?
Let's see. But with that being said, would we like to make some amendments to the agenda before we even get to it? If you want to go ahead and pull off, which item was that? Councilman?
Because I thought because of the way we normally do, if we didn't deal with it, it was automatic pass. I wanted some more details on item D. With the Ford Explorer under consent.
Oh, okay. The amended resolutions?
I'm looking at the Ford Explorers.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
9D.
So, motion to withdraw, or withdraw the previous motion?
I make a motion to withdraw it.
Yeah. Second.
We'll withdraw that previous motion. Everybody okay with that? So let's go back and let's do some amending to the agenda. So we are definitely pulling off 9D. We definitely want to discuss that in fully and make a vote on that as part of our business item. I mean, as part of our items in the business section, correct? All right. Is there anything else that we definitely want to pull off before we even get to it?
I also, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'd like to pull off, G, 9G.
Very good. Absolutely. Anything else?
I'd like to pull off 9I. PC3.
BC3. Okay.
And 9K. And 9M.
Good deal.
And 9P.
Anything else? All right, so we will go ahead and make sure that we have votes on those items when we get to them instead of placing them on consent. So as we go through, it'll be noted that those will not be on consent,
Okay,
and we will discuss them and have a vote ready for them at that point. Sound good?
sounds good.
For the record, I do want to note that amended resolutions will now be item 8J.
Okay,
Under business items.
very good. We'll do it. Thank you very much. 8J. And that is an amended agenda. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Let's go.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion otherwise? All those in favor?
Aye.
Very cool. So we've got ourselves an agenda in front of us. Discussions and presentations. We need to take a look at the organizational chart. Who's taking that away? Oh, I'm sorry. I have skipped open forum citizens request. We definitely have two on here. We'll go back. Cheryl Oliver. First on the list, if you would, name and address for the record and topic of code enforcement policy.
Good evening. Cheryl Oliver, 102 South Massey Street, Selma, North Carolina. Two items: to correct an erroneous statement that has repeatedly been made regarding the lack of any code enforcement prior to this administration. And two, to shed light on why the $500 fee for an appeal to the Board of Adjustment has become an issue. First, I know that during my tenure as mayor, code enforcement received a lot of attention. Indeed, during those years, a code enforcement position was staffed, a form to document and track code enforcement issues was created, and a process to remedy code violations was continuously updated. You may remember that for a period of time, specific code violations were cited in town council meetings. That was not designed to be done forever, but it was done to both educate our citizens about code violations and to let it be known that the town of Selma was serious about using code enforcement to improve the appearance of our town. We tried other approaches, such as having a uniformed police officer serve as a code enforcer, and using the See, Click, Fix app that allowed citizens to submit an online photo of issues that needed attention. This app included a tracking system that kept citizens apprised of their submission status. So code enforcement is not new to Selma. Secondly, the $500 fee to appeal to the Selma Board of Adjustment has not been an issue until now because prior to a recent change to Article 3, Section 13-59 of our municipal code, code enforcement issues were not generally handled by the Board of Adjustment. That board was primarily used to appeal planning board decisions related to variances, development regulations, and things like that. The code enforcement process consisted of progressively increasing fines, along with discussions with the code enforcement officer and the town manager. If these did not correct the code violation and fines were not paid, Next steps included an appeal to civil court and/or use of the debt set-off process. If code enforcement appeals continue to be handled by the Board of Adjustment, I recommend that processes and fees within the Board of Adjustment policies be updated to address them appropriately. Code violations for items such as trash can lids and junk cars are far different from complex planning and development issues and should be handled in a different manner. Code enforcement is challenging. Sometimes it seems like a game of whack-a-mole. You swat away one junk car and here come two more. But it is definitely a job worth doing. Thank you for your attention to that.
Well, thank you for that, Ms. Oliver. All right. Mr. Al Gaskell. Come on up. Name and address for the record.
Name is Al Gaskell, 209 Pelham Street, Selma. I'm up here with some trepidation, but I hope my remarks this evening will be received by council in a conciliatory manner, as I have no other interest, none. Sometimes it's also best to leave a sleeping dog lying, but I'm not able to do that either. I was rather distressed after your February 5th meeting regarding the censure of a fellow council member. I saw 5 grown people display that they had great difficulty in performing some of the simplest of council duties. Although you could not agree on a council issue, you apparently could not or would not agree to disagree, which in itself is an acceptable solution to simply move on with more important business. You were advised by 2 members of the state legislature that the offense in question did not rise to the level of punishment being applied. You disregarded this advice. It is rarely acceptable to air your dirty laundry in public. Not only have we acquired a reputation of a town that cannot keep a town manager, now we find ourselves dealing with a council that has difficulty controlling within itself. To your credit, a lot of good things have been done in the town. Rayford Street looks as good as I've seen it in the past 20 years. You're doing a lot of infrastructure work throughout the town. That's definitely an improvement and good. It's a waste of time, effort, and talent when you allow pettiness to damage and even destroy the good work of the past few years. My hope is that a cool-off period has taken place and that shared progress will once again flourish in Selma. Now, how's the best way to accomplish this? The recent action taken by the council was a major blow to respect and friendship. Unfortunately, you did not build either of these back overnight. The surest way to begin the healing process requires maximum effort from all parties.
Mr. Gaskell, I'm gonna have to pause you right there. 3 minutes are up.
Sir, I have that much left, four lines, and I would like very much to finish what I need to say.
Well, I.
Thank you very much. The surest way to begin the healing process requires maximum effort from all parties. The town council must, and I repeat, must recognize this and take the lead. As difficult as it may be, a simple apology to Mrs. Watson and removal of the censure action from the record is step one. Again, as difficult as it may be, acceptance of an apology by Mrs. Watson is step two. If done, this necessary action will not solve all internal problems, but it will serve as a reminder of how not to handle some differences in the future. Apologies
Mr. Gaskell.
given or
Mr.
accepted
Gaskell, I'm
are
gonna have to
only
stop you
valid
right there. We are
if they
cruising well
are,
past our 3 minutes.
if they are sincerely offered.
But what I will do is I will address your statements at the end. It kind of fits in well with what I had to speak on in the first place, and the code enforcement conversation.
Well, my final line was finally, can each of you or will you do this?
I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Gaskell.
It would be nice to be able to hear some response.
All right, moving right along. We've got we're at discussions and presentations. Now we're hitting that organizational chart. Who's taking that away?
Always it's been a document. I think this is number 8, and I expect by budget time to be during our budget process, we are discussing vision phase. This is what I know this is more secret for everybody, but this is not what this will be. But I wouldn't get too deep in it because I do feel like staff is going to be looking at some additions and changes. And anything council wants to take and appear to scribble on it and give back to me, we'll take that. I'll bring something back to you. We'll discuss this at the budget retreat. This is the recommendations I got from the budget retreat.
Very cool. Good piece of information. We have questions?
Yeah, so just for my verification and stuff, I noticed the code enforcement officer doesn't report to anybody. It's right under planning tech.
It's under planning. And she reports. Yeah. She's in that department, but we work together, but she reports directly to the manager. That was probably a mistake in the line. I apologize.
Any other questions? Cool. All right, moving right along. Selma Stop, Sip, and Shop special event request. Who's taking that one away? Hey.
Everyone.
You can just give your name and who you're with and
Sure.
go from there.
I'm Ruby Matos with Delaney's LLC, an entrepreneur here, and with Megan Darrell, she's my assistant of logistics.
Very good. All right, tell us what you got.
I have a couple of boards as I speak that I would like to see if I can get 2 volunteers to help us hold it up for us, or
Sure.
we could prop it up. Is there anyone here on the gentleman thing? One more? I appreciate it.
Where do you want to?
Which corner here?
Towards the city council.
Yes, and the public had a category maybe. Here's one of those this way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This evening, I really appreciate this opportunity. Sorry if I'm a little bit nervous. It's the first time I'm presenting to the town, but I am presenting something that I think will add a lot of value. The Lord gave me Selma Stop, Sip, and Shop. I graduated from Triple S here, went to Raleigh for a while, developed my business for a long time there, about 15 years. And his purpose brought me back to my hometown. And during that course of time, during the pandemic, when my business closed, I did vendor events to keep things afloat. I did vendor events in Wake County, all through downtown Wake County, different areas of Wake County, and then also in Jacksonville. So I was able to get to know what it's like to be a pop-up shop, just from a brick and mortar to pop-up shop. When I came back to Selma, I noticed that my town was flourishing, and I was really happy to see that. And I found that in my little corner, I could add maybe some value by continuing to do what I was doing in Wake County and Onslow County, right here in this beautiful town with a lot of character. I also am part of a couple of groups on Facebook. So I'm in conversations to see what the public has to say of what they want to see in the town. And a lot of the public expressed that they are quite nervous about all of the development going on in Eastville, and all of the chains that are popping up, and that maybe some of that commerce will drive towards that area and leave downtown some a little secluded. So since I planted my business with a joint partner here in downtown Selma, just operating as a small studio right now till we expand, I knew that giving more warmth and fostering what downtown Selma already looks like with the character and everything, and building on promoting businesses that already have their shops, as well as providing opportunities for entrepreneurs that would like to display what they have going on in the town, would just bring things full circle. So Selma Stop, Sip, and Shop. Stop, Selma, we're right off of 95. Sip, we have quite a bit of coffee shops around town. Coffee shops and smoothie shops. And I thought that that would, again, bring that collectively as the message of stop here, sip here, shop here. I would like to propose a kickoff event for March. I went ahead and submitted the permit application for the event, and I would like to go ahead and just briefly discuss what the kickoff event would be. The March 28th kickoff event would be from 1 to 4 p.m. located on the sidewalk street of West Waddell Street and North Rayford Street. The town of Selma, we are requesting that we can close up half of the street. In this demo here, you can see, I'm gonna walk towards it so I can do some pointing. This image here is just a starter image, but this is kind of where Alta's is. And we have a local boutique owner here, that's Linda's Boutique, and then a hair salon here. But we would have the fashion show walkway here, and what we're basically showing is local vendors, local businesses, local entrepreneurs, everything that they have to offer. They'll walk through and then circle back around. On the middle of the street where the traffic lights are, we would have our command center, which would be, First Aid Command Center, red carpet, the logos of the business, just to make it fun and interactive. So those community members that are walking and shopping can stop, take pictures, and enjoy the show. Once the show concludes, for the first 2 hours, we'll have the vendor booths. Each of the vendors will all have white tents just to keep the aesthetics of downtown and that integrity going. And prior to the title is March Forward Fashion Show, the message is that no matter what happens, as spring is coming along, it won't rain always. And we want to give the message that you can pivot, make something, and continue to flourish if you don't give up. We're going to do a mini demo for a flower arrangement that you can get something in your garden, make it, put it together, and put it in your kitchen. So we'll start out with a little flower arrangement class, just 30 minutes prior to the fashion show. That's the kickoff event. In April, we would like to continue that tone by offering a Spring into Health event where we bring in medical providers, blood drive, screenings, in the same areas to provide some medical resources to the local community. And then moving forward from there, we will request that Selma Stop Sip and Shop be a weekly vendor event that local businesses and entrepreneurs can sign up for on tiers, whether they work a first shift of 4 or 5 hours to have their booth, and or an evening shift, since we have some businesses that are now open late in downtown Selma, which is good, just giving it more of that downtown feel. That they have that second option to sign up, so we can provide opportunity. The booths, we would only manage 15 booths, so not grow too big, but just nice enough where there's another option to continue to keep the buzz going in Selma and provide more revenue. I would like to go ahead and introduce Megan. She's new, so please bear with her.
Yes, I'm new with Ruby, but some of you have seen me as a busy bee around town before, so some familiar faces. And I love logistics and I love this community. I moved here, I think this is year 3 now. And so my part of this will be handling those logistics and being the busy bee behind the scenes that I am. So for my part, the map. So you will need a map for all of these and have the details. So it'll have the vendor layout, the stage and seating, the food truck, all of those details. The equipment needs that we have, we're gonna handle all of that part. The thing that we're requesting from the town is waste and recycling stations, if possible. And we do have some other town support that is being requested, so I'll just list some of these off. Police presence or traffic control, EMS standby, public works support, so barricades, cones, sanitation, street closures if applicable, and then park or facility reservations. Safety and compliance will be with that, and so the event is going to comply with all of Selma's safety needs, and then there will be a safety plan submitted for that. And anything that I can't answer at this point, I'll also refer back to Ruby, but we'll be hopefully growing some of that together and working as a community to bring the best of what we have and, you know, build where we have found lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have some questions, council, comments?
Did you say the first event you're requesting March 28th?
Yes, ma'am, from 1 to 4.
Are all these events on a Saturday?
We would like them to be on Saturday and Sundays. We're flexible on that. But there will be a sign up in advance for vendors. So if there's already something going on, we can, let our vendors know that it will be closed for that weekend due to another event that the town is hosting or anyone else is hosting, and we would resume on a different day.
And I heard somebody say weekly event?
It would be a small closure, an L, where downtown nutrition is just before you go to the AutoZone. So that AutoZone parking lot will remain open. It would just be that small closure, and an L for that right at that stoplight. So it'll just be condensed to that bit, halfway, I guess, of that part of 206 North Brayford Street, right at that stoplight. So there'll still be flow throughout the town elsewhere, just enough space to house 15 tents.
A street would have to be closed is what you're saying?
Half of it.
Half of it?
Half of it.
Weekly?
On the weekends.
Okay,
Yeah.
I heard weekly event.
Yeah, Saturdays and Sundays, And that demo right here kind of will give you a little bit of a visual of what that would look like just in that cluster of space to provide the 10 by 10 booths.
Any other questions?
If there is a green space that there is available in the town that's open, we're open to that too, but there's not much of a green space where it's all in a community-based flow where people can grab a coffee or grab a smoothie and visit their vendor booths around. So we kind of want to give it a flow where someone coming in from out of town or locally can go ahead and shop, sip, and stop.
I just had a concern though. Our employees are really overworked and taking a weekend every week is gonna push us to a bit.
I think there's a lot that needs to be discussed, and in fact, as part of the conversation, we have that special event policy that we'll be discussing as well. But certainly, great presentation, information for us to digest, consider, certainly have staff get some input on all the pieces. You said there's already a permit that has been submitted.
Yes, about 2 weeks ago.
Very good. Well, any other questions? Everybody good to go? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the volunteers.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. You volunteer quicker than my students.
All right, let's see. Public hearings and appeals. We've got an ordinance map amendment for River Road. Do I have a motion to open the legislative hearing for ordinance map amendment 2026-02302, 1420 River Road?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. I have before you a town council request for a general use district
Give me
rezoning.
just a moment.
Oh, sorry.
In the gallery, quiet. Thanks. After you, sir.
I have a town council request for a general use district rezoning from R10 medium density residential to GB general business for a property located at 1420 River Road. The applicant Ahmad Shaheen, and this is right at the end of River Road where it meets Buffalo. This is a 0.64 acre part of this parcel that is currently zoned R10 and operating as a auto parts repair, and they are looking to maintain that pre-existing use that borders this high-intensity industrial I2 area. The planning board agreed that this was not consistent with the land use plan, but was reasonable. I asked the board to consider a motion to accept all testimony and evidence into record, a motion to approve or deny, and that is all.
Public hearing is open. Do we have anybody that would like to comment as part of this public hearing related to 1420 River Road? Hearing none, council, have any comments? Anything you want to add to the record? Do I have a motion to close this legislative hearing related to ordinance map amendment for 1420 River Road?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And with that, are we okay with leaving that on the consent agenda? Anybody stepping up to say pull it off?
I'm good for that.
We'll leave it on the consent agenda. It is down there under consent. All right, now we're coming to 7B. We've got a ordinance map amendment for 2093 Lizzie Mill Road. Do I have a motion to open the legislative hearing for that?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Hey,
Okay, so this one I have a town council request for a general use district rezoning from R20, which is our low density residential, to transitional residential TR. The applicant is Godwin Engineering, and this property is located at 2093 Lizzie Mill Road. It is a 17.77 acre parcel. It's got dual frontages, and it is located in our ETJ. The planning board found this not consistent with the land use plan, but reasonable. Staff found this request not consistent. I asked council to consider a motion to accept all testimony and evidence into the record, and a motion to either approve or deny. I believe we have the applicant here for this.
okay. Public hearing, applicant here, if you want to tell us about what you got going on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Godwin. I'm with Godwin Engineering, 1403 NC Highway 50 South, Benson, North Carolina. I do have some visuals if y'all would be interested. I'm a visual person, and I know that the application has a lot of words and discussions, but if y'all are interested, I do have some information more particular to the proposed intent and vision of what the owner would like to do. Is that something I could share? Or-
We'll definitely take them and then
Okay.
put them into evidence as well.
Okay.
Public hearing.
So as Mr. Graham said, the property is currently zoned R20. And in discussions with Mr. Graham and the owner, we looked at different aspects of Selma's needs, the growth, the economic situation from the Economic Development Strategic Plan. And we looked at potential improvements that would be suitable for this tract of land, working with the owner. And we're proposing to put on townhomes, and that's the impetus for the request to rezone. And the townhomes that we're proposing is in the handouts that we have. And what we're looking at doing is building clusters of 4, 5, and 6 units in both the north section and the south section, and using the open space for recreational facilities such as pavilions, playground, dog park, walking trails, and things like that to help enhance the community aspect. That is some of the things that Selma was encouraging as far as their growth strategy. And we were targeting townhomes because that would allow ownership. So townhomes are more affordable option for a lot of new homeowners. They appeal to first-time buyers and whatnot oftentimes. And as compared to, for instance, single-family homes. Those are some of the aspects that we looked at. That's all I have, subject to your questions.
Council, questions, comments?
This bump, excuse me, question. Is this bumping up to 95?
Yes, sir. There is a portion of it that's adjacent to or near to 95, near where the rest area is.
So it's on this side of 95? Or
It is on
it's
the
both sides?
northwest side of 95.
It would be on this side.
This side
Yes, sir.
there.
Lizzie Mill.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We do have a public hearing, so if anybody from the public would like to comment part of this, welcome to do so. Come on up, name and address for the record.
Thank y'all for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Brooks Peden, and the area shaded in yellow is property of Peden Farms Incorporated, of which I am president. I wanted to make the board aware that these, well, not every one of the shades, but adjacent to the property on two sides. And I want to make the board aware that this is a agricultural district. It's registered with Johnston County. And it is subject to the sights, sounds, smells that are associated with production agriculture, as well as pesticide applications, animals, that type of thing. So I want to make the board aware of this in their deliberations. And I would also like to address the part that is close to the rest area. So you have some units on that side of the road as well. That is adjacent to Moccasin Creek, which is in the flood zone. And I would think that it would be very detrimental to have buildings and housing located in such an area with flood potential and water, sewer. Sewer is also there, which can flood during periods of wet weather. So I want to make the board aware of that. And I wanted you to know that all of the members of Peden Farms are opposed to this. We do believe that every individual is entitled to use their land as they see fit, as long as it does not infringe on others. So we wanted to take this opportunity to speak to you, make you aware that that is a working farm. It surrounds that property on two sides. And then it has a flood zone on the I-95 side. So I wanted to take the opportunity to speak to you about that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up, name and address for the record.
Jennifer Edwards, Brownwall Road, Selma. I respectfully come before the mayor and council tonight with concerns about the proposed project on Lizzie Mill Road. I'm not only here for myself, my neighborhood, but I'm here in support of Peden Farms. They are actually a generational farm. This land has passed from his family for generations, and that's rare nowadays. He has hundreds of acres in this area, and he has state-of-the-art equipment, much of it which is huge. Therefore, it's probably as big as Lizzie Mill Road. Some of my concerns are as follows. The project is not consistent with the recommended land use plan. While it is a recommended plan, I was actually on the group that worked hard on this plan, and we tried very hard to support areas for growth and also areas where we could preserve farmland. I'm highly concerned about the traffic and safety from adding 100 townhomes here. Most of Lizzie Mill doesn't have any sidewalks, and of course there's none up to the railroad. It's still pretty much a rural road. So where will all this traffic go? There's no interchange at this 95 exit. So traffic will either have to go back into Selma or come down Seafood House Road, which is a small road, and it's certainly not equipped for that kind of traffic. Or they'll use my cut-through road, which goes from 95 to 301, which is unpaved. So farm equipment uses these roads regularly. The railroad is also in close proximity, and there's a spur track there at the Lizzie Mill Railroad where the old feed mill is. And also, as Brooks pointed out, part of this property is in a watershed. Another concern of mine is the leap from a low-density residential area to transitional. That's a huge leap for this type of area. Most of the homes there are single-family residential homes. There is a mobile home park there, which has been there for quite a while. There was a mention of Eastfield on the applicant's application. I really don't see where Eastfield applies to us. They've made provisions at Eastfield for all types of housing in that area, and since there's no 95 interchange here, I really don't see the tie-in to that. I may sound as if I'm opposed to growth, but I'm not. What I ask for is controlled growth, handled by proper zoning. Why have a plan if we don't use it? Your planning board and the applicant also made a statement that concerns me. It says it is reasonable and in the public interest because by amending the map, it shows the town is fair and practical when assessing the future development of property. My question is, fair and practical to whom? Is it to a generational farmer with a true working farm, or is it to the developer? The land use plan has provided land for growth. Let's remember
Ms.
our
Edwards, I'm gonna
farmland
have to
as well.
Pause you right there. We gotta keep going through the hearing, but thank you for the fantastic comments.
I just said I respectfully
Is there
stand by
anybody
Peden
else that would
Farms.
like to speak as part of the public hearing? Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, yes. Hey, I represent the company that, we're developing, the land out there. And, Selma has grown, really, it has. Talking about traffic, I gotta cut through, the outlets when I gotta cross the bridge, because too much traffic coming up this way in Selma from Pine Level. It's incredible, but I enjoy it. Selma's developing, it's growing. We have a lot of the next generation that's going to be growing up. The market is high. I think this is going to be very consistent and affordable, for the next generation. I think that what we're looking at is also the next generation. We're looking at not only those who are moving in, but we're looking at those who grown to this town. I mean, it's incredible what's the value of houses, but we want to make it so affordable that your kids or the kids in the area, that police officers, teachers will be able to afford what the townhouses that they are building. Incredible. I've been living in Selma more than 20 years, and shortly but slow, Selma has been developing. It has been growing little by little. I enjoy the city. I enjoy the country, and I think that we have a new generation. We got a lot of people growing, a lot of things happening, and I'm concerned really too about the next generation. You know, what's going to happen with them. So as it grows, people need a place to buy, not to rent, to buy. So what we want to do, we just want to make it feasible for people to really purchase the property and just move on and build their homes and so on and so on. That's what we really want to do. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else for the public hearing? Name and address for the record.
Lisa Peden, 1172 Hennett Road, Selma. And I'm my husband, we're with Peden Farms. And I see we're want to rezone to transitional housing. I'm not really familiar with that, but I've looked up and done some research. So are y'all looking at something that's like, these are not going to be families that are buying these townhomes?
Ma'am, let me clarify for you. Our council's not looking at anything. The applicant is looking to do something in their.
Well, my question is, transitional residential covers a lot of different segments or sectors of society. So we're just concerned what type of housing is going to be there.
And we can answer that question.
I think you're confused by the term transitional residential as the zoning label. It's not like transitional housing as you may think, like maybe Department of Social Services is maybe what you're thinking. But
Well, when you Google transitional housing,
Mhm.
I don't see anything there about individual families
Yeah.
buying housing. It sounds more like it could be like recovery homes.
I'll help clarify.
Yeah.
Transitional residential is a term specific to town of Selma zoning. A couple of other towns have that terminology, but it has nothing to do with any type of transitional residential housing that you're looking up online related to recovery homes, halfway houses, things like that. Totally different. Just a zoning term. Okay.
Okay, for Selma.
For Selma, yes, we specifically have a definition of what transitional residential housing can accommodate as far as the zone is concerned.
Okay, yeah, because when you Google, it shows a lot of things, and that's very concerning.
Yes, ma'am.
And like you say, it is a working farm. There may be nights that are late, it's dark, depending on the weather. There's equipment running. There might be noise, voluntary ag district is all those yellow areas, as Brooks mentioned out. So people need to know that there's farming going on and the roads are not wide enough to move equipment, and growth is okay, but we see some of the growth that has happened over the last several years just doesn't seem to have a positive impact. So I'd like for everybody to consider what type of housing, the quality of it. We don't want to see something to come in and devalue what we've worked so hard for.
Thank you. Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Yes, the applicant, come on back up if you want to respond to any of those comments.
Joe Gowan again. I just want to address everybody's concerns, and I appreciate everybody's feedback. And I completely understand. I was born and raised in Johnson County in Meadow, and I was raised on a farm, so I can appreciate everybody's perspective on that regard. I was raised right beside farm fields with fertilizer, chicken manure, hog lagoons sprayed in fields. I'm very familiar with that, and I'm not trying to say that there's that it's okay, but what I'm saying, that is a factor. And I think building houses, beside agriculture, you know, there's always the concern that, stormwater or flooding, we're going to add to some sort of a water issue. I do want to address that too, because we are in the Neuse River Basin. So any impacts that we would do to this property, building these, owner-occupied townhomes, would have to meet the Neuse River Basin rules for flooding. If there is a flood zone, which we haven't gotten into that level of granularity with the design yet, we would have to meet all floodplain requirements for any flood zones. And so for stormwater, for the sanitary sewer, for the potable water scenario, as far as capacity and flow, I believe there's a 16-inch water main along Lizzie Mill currently, and we do have access to sewer. So we would have to meet all mandated state and county requirements. That's not something, I know there's always that fear, and I completely understand, it's very rational, but we're gonna have to go above and beyond with the buffers that are be required by us for landscaping and things of that nature. And regarding DOT and driveway permits, you know, DOT keeps a traffic count, they have criteria for turn lanes and so on and so forth. And we'll meet all DOT requirements for traffic. So I can't speak for DOT, and we haven't gotten to that stage yet. But this will, of course, meet whatever requirements they set forth. So.
Thank you for that information.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Come on up, name and address for the record.
Kim Fry, 111 Gardner Road, Selma. The only question I would have is because owning 40 acres and knowing there's a lot of properties that are coming in, I could see land changing, causing flooding on farmland that probably never had it before. So I think that would be a consideration because you are moving a lot of dirt when you do a lot of developments. And so the surrounding areas need to be protected to make sure that farmland, because we're already losing farmland acres at a time with bringing all these neighborhoods in. And so I would think that that would have to be a major consideration for the farmlands that are around that area. So just another thought.
Thank you. Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Well, so, council, comments, questions, thoughts?
Well, we removed it from the consent agenda, correct?
We did.
We removed that one from consent agenda? Okay, so do we need to
Not yet.
discuss now?
Nope, not yet. Part of the record. We have had this discussion quite a bit. And it is actually that Selma does have a plan that we plan on sticking to. The northern side of Selma, we don't particularly want to see much density, so I suggest that we stick to that plan. This really is not about how we feel or what we used to do or what we like. It's about an actual plan on how to properly build a community and grow wisely. Business. And we did just, I believe, deny a rezoning for an apartment complex going toward Outlet Center Drive, because as we have noted, there are 348 apartments going up right now. There's a townhome complex being built on River Road, Oak Street area right now. We have infill houses going up left and right. We have another community over in the Eastfield area that is going to be putting up 250 to 300 homes already on the books. And we have no idea what that looks like for the town of Selma. We actually have a plan that we're actually planning to stick to. I hope. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how we feel, what we like. It's about an actual plan. Good business is where you find it. Having a plan is the first part of that good business. That's my comments. Anything else?
Well, that's exactly what I was starting to say when we shifted gears there. I'm very concerned about the traffic. There's not an access to I-95. Seafood Road is a small 2-lane road. You're talking about 2 cars per unit, and we're talking about maybe, 240 more cars added to that track out there? I just don't see it. And I always think when we talk about farming, I think about the Joey Carter farm. And, those people have lived there for a long time. And they still complained about the smell of the pigs. Sure, Mr. Carter thought it smelled like money. But, I think we have to preserve our areas that we have. And we've got plenty of townhomes out toward Wilson's Mills. We've got plenty coming up around Eastfield. I'd like to see some single-family homes with a little bit of front yard and some places for a dog and a cat. So that's my opinion.
And it is already zoned for that.
Yep.
Anything else?
I just like to say is that we got the different zones for a reason. And we didn't just put those out yesterday. Spent over years developing what zone for whatever. And if I was getting ready to build something, if I look in that zone and it does not have, I get my project in that particular zone, that would be my first red flag there. Because it's in the record of what goes there, what can go there. And we try to change from one thing to another, those things have been considered way before I got on this council, what goes where. So that's my thing about it.
Planning. Quiet in the gallery, please. I hear some chit chat. Please. All right, with that being said, do I have a motion to close this public hearing related to 2093 Lizzie Mill Road?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion otherwise? Public hearing is closed, and there was a request to accept items into evidence. Taylor, do I have a motion to accept the items that we have into evidence?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Got stuff in evidence. And then there was a motion to approve that you're asking for? Or deny? Well, let's test the water. I think the temperature in the room's clear. I have a motion to deny the request for the ordinance map amendment related to 2093 Lizzie Mill Road.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Again, a plan. I do not want any of you to think that walking into this room, there's like a big shock about what's been talked about for 4 years. That's kind of been part of the problem of the past, not having a plan. So, got a motion, got a second to deny. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Let's keep rural up north, guys. I'd like to be able to get on my driveway in under 45 minutes. All right. Next, we got an ordinance text amendment for Chapter 17, Article 5. Got a motion to open the public hearing related to that?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I have a request for an ordinance amendment to section 17-505 off-street parking and loading. This amendment is to strengthen the standards for parking and storing of recreational vehicles in residential districts. Staff were directed to review the standards for RVs and compare them with other municipalities to see if we can strengthen the standards of parking and storing in residential properties. This is part of a larger goal to provide reasonable standards for our growing community. I give you the motions to consider to accept all the testimony and evidence into record, and a motion to approve or deny, if you have any questions about the amendment.
Questions? I think we actually asked to have this looked at about 3 years ago. You checking some boxes, buddy. Thank you. Anybody like to comment as part of the public hearing related to this amendment to Chapter 17, Article 5? Do I have a motion to close this public hearing related to chapter 17, article 5?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and everybody all right with leaving that on consent? Cool. All right, next up, CDBG public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I apologize in advance. This is gonna be very boring. If you'd like to open the public hearing, I'll get it started.
All right, motion to open the public hearing to CDBG.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
If you guys will remember, last month you approved, us to apply for a community development block grant to improve our, our water plant. So most of y'all would probably remember when we did this before. The young lady came up here and read a lot of stuff and told you how boring it was gonna be. I'm pitch hitting for tonight. So, this has to be read into the record and then anybody can speak. So it's about 3 pages and I apologize. Purpose of this memo is to summarize the public hearing for the town's intended application to the CDBG infrastructure program. The purpose of this public hearing is to describe the CDBG program requirements of the town's community development needs, describe the proposed project for the application, review the town's compliance with previous CDBG projects, and allow residents an opportunity to express their views. The town's purposes to request these funds for the water treatment plant rehabilitation project. The proposed project will meet the community development and housing needs of Selma by improving local public and environmental health, by upgrading and updating drinking water treatment processes and operations and maintenance system. Funding conditions. The purpose of the CDBG grant program is to improve the quality of life of low to moderate income people by providing a safe, clean environment and clean drinking water through water and sewer infrastructure. To benefit residential areas where at least 51% of the beneficiaries are low to moderate, to perform eligible activities, to minimize displacement and provide displacement assistance as necessary. The maximum available grant is $3 million over a 3-year period. CDBG funding available in spring of 26 is expected to be approximately $10 million. Applications for funding are due to NCDWI by April 30th, 2026. The CDBG funding available in fall 26 is expected to be approximately $18 million. Applications for funding are anticipated to be due on September 30th, 26. The CDBG program is available to fund a wide variety of community development activities. The state of North Carolina has chosen to fund several activities: water and sewer infrastructure, neighborhood revitalization, urgent need, and development projects. The infrastructure program, or CDBG, can fund a range of water and sewer infrastructure. Town of Selma intends to apply for up to $3 million for the water treatment placement rehabilitation project to conduct like-for-like rehabilitation replacement of aging and deficient equipment components of our water treatment plant, incorporating redundancy, resiliency, and components are available. The water treatment plant is located at 110 South Brevard Street, Selma. The project area is approximately 1.3 acres, and the limits of disturbance will be contained within the existing fenced site. According to 2016 to 2020 American Community Survey 5-year summary data, the project has an area-wide benefit to low moderate income at 89.3%. The project will benefit at least 51% LMI households, and therefore 100% of the CDBG funds will be used to benefit LMI persons. Some of the proposed work has been on the town's capital improvement plan since 21. The 21 to 30 CIP was adopted. The town has an active water asset inventory and assessment grant awarded by DWI that is funded through ARPA funds. The water AIA will update the town's water management assets. The updated CIP will be adopted in April of 26 and include this proposed budget. The range of activities covered by CDBG for the Selma Waste WTP Rehabilitation Project is grant administration, environmental review, engineering reporting, surveying, engineering design, construction administration, observation, public outreach and procurement notices, As a recipient of CDBG, the town is required to adhere to all federal procurement requirements and other federal regulations, including but not limited to completion of submittal environmental review, equal housing opportunity, and equal employment opportunity plans, programs, procurement plan and policy, citizens participation plan, a Section 3 plan, a residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan, excessive force provision and code of conduct policy, a disability act, a language access plan, and a fair housing plan. Davis Bacon, acquisition, demolition, and uniform relocation and real property acquisition. Town official attendance at required CDBG procurement compliance and environmental trainings, quarterly, semi-annual reporting, timely submittal of annual physical audits, and financial management and records retention. State of North Carolina requires that a recipient with the town will certify that they will comply with the requirements of the general displacement of relocation policy for CDBG grant funding. The policy assists low to moderate income people with costs associated with relocation or displacement, should such relocation become necessary. CDBG funds can be used for these costs. The town of Selma has applied for and reviewed multiple CDBG projects in the past. In the year 15, there was a Ricks Road Sewer project, and in 15, there was a CDBG sewer rehabilitation project. Town will submit its CDBG funding application for the WTP rehabilitation project by aforementioned application deadlines. The description, we will be looking to replace caustic mixing pumps of day tank, replace caustic chemical feed equipment, replace potassium, permigate, day tank and mixer, replace level, transducer, and transmitters, replace standby pumps with equivalent size or high service pumps, upgrade pressure filter system, the SCADA system upgrades, security system improvements, new aeration tower, and piping and valves. The town does not discriminate based on race, color, religion, sex, nation, origin, handicap, age, family, and the admission, access to, treatment, or employment of CDBG program activities. Efforts will be made to minimize displacement during the implementation of applicable utility easements. Displacement assistance as necessary. Persons with disability, limited English proficiency, or who otherwise require special accommodation can contact the town of Selma at 919-965-9841. Citizen comments. Comments should be postmarked no later than Friday, March 13th, this Friday, and a written response will be made within 10 days. Public hearing minutes will be adopted by the council at the next meeting. That's important. Public grant documents are available at Town Hall upon request between the hours of 9 and 4. For additional information, submit written comments, and please contact Philip McDaniel, interim town manager, at the Town Hall. This information is available in Spanish. Rest.
My man.
There's a map behind you showing the water plant, the project that now we have in the record that it has been shown.
It's the same place we got it now, right?
Yeah, it's not moving. This is an upgrade. This is basically to replace a lot of old equipment and be ready for the next stage of growth.
So you said,
Our goal is to get this thing to 1.5 million gallons. We're just under 1 million now. Yes, sir.
so the cost you said is we're looking at 3 million?
Yes, sir. That is grant funding. So we'll do as much as the grant can do at that 3 million. Yeah, that's the max we can apply for. And if you remember back, these other ones that we were talking about that we had applied for, they were usually about, maybe we're gonna do sewer in this one little area. And we had to go out and make sure that that one little area had that 51% in LMI. This one is affecting the entire town. So we didn't have to do that. That was a big step that this one is here. So this is 100% of water customers in Selma.
So do you think we'll be replacing anything, old stuff out there?
Yes. If you look, you've probably been in the water plant.
Yes, many times.
The big pipes that we all wonder exactly what's going on. I understand it better than I used to. All that'll be changed out. The filters are the big part of what happens there. Another big one is our aeration tower, that thing you see in the back where people call in and say it's leaking because it's supposed to run over. That aeration tower will be completely changed.
Okay.
But many things will be upgraded.
Okay.
Right. You're thinking like me. We're going to get it. We're already talking about what we're going to do. We're
Right.
applying right now.
Right.
this is just the next step, all the big projects that we have going on.
Right.
So, pieces to the puzzle, lots of funding that has gone toward this grant funding, appropriations from the state of North Carolina, all types of things mixed into this pot to improve our systems throughout the town of Selma. Are there any other questions, any other comments as part of this public hearing? Yes, ma'am, come on up, name and address for the record.
Not necessarily.
Come on up to the microphone and then name and address for the record.
Sure. Ruby Mato, 600 River Road in Selma. Just wanted to say if he needed a drink of water, no pun intended after all that.
Anybody else as part of the public hearing? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing related to this CDBG funding?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we need any action coming out of this?
No, sir.
Good information.
Next meeting, we'll have. Sir, 4 minutes for you to approve that piece.
Thank you.
And with that, we've got business items, and this first business item we have pulled off consent. BC3 Inc. Internet Technology IT proposal. Who wants to give us some information on that?
The action agenda and the entire proposal itself, go back and teach you a little bit about. Sometime in 2025, we opened up an RFQ. We took in 5, I believe, companies that like we went through, rigorous, interviews with these guys, narrowed it down to 2, took those 2 together and said, decided BC3 was the one that was most qualified, that worked out a price, and that's where it stopped. We stayed with our current, IT provider, since that point. I highly recommended that we move for this BC3, this new company that we already went through that RFQ. 2 reasons. I've heard y'all say it many times, this is a little big town, and that is really true. The IT that we're currently using is just not fitting our needs. We're expanding staff, we're expanding technology, and the world is changing in technology, and we're not keeping up. On the other side, this is actually cheap. This is a better service for a better price. It's not, I wouldn't call it cheap, it is efficient. It is what we need, and it is formed to this. This takes the people that in town that are, I'm gonna call them heavy, medium, and light users of our computers. That make sense. Folks like, are your folks in town hall, Dalton, Celgena, some of those others, finance folks, are heavy users. That cost more, but everybody doesn't need that level of service. We have employees that just check emails. We have employees that are email and work on work orders. They only receive work orders. They're not deep into creating things. So those folks will be a little cheaper per month. So that's how the contract came down to a very reasonable price. Answer any questions. Staff is highly recommending this.
Questions?
Yeah, give me the final, amount for the first year.
So the final amount, currently we're paying about $121,000 for that service. There is, since this is new, a $13,000 one-time subtotal. We have looked at our contract service, and we are able to do that in this current year. But there is a one-time, and that's pretty much with any IT thing, system we've ever set up, there's usually a one-time subtotal.
And then that's a 3-year contract, right?
It's a 3-year contract that we're entering. There's a couple of charges that drop off after 1 year, but yeah, the majority of what you see, they're marked 3 years, either one time, 3 years, or 1 year. So this will drop, a couple of dollars a year, a couple of dollars a month after that first.
And I think, sorry.
No, you're good.
I think I read in there that they're on call for 24/7.
Yes, sir. This is 24/7.
And we do have a monthly subtotal here of $9,872.34, and then that one-time subtotal, $13,860.
Are we budgeting in this budget?
Penciled it in, proposed budget as we're
Okay.
again, that's not really changing anything because we're a couple thousand dollars more than that now. So that's already budgeted.
So when does Red Lizard's contract end?
We give them a 30-day notification and they would work, they're both required to work with each other for transition.
And you're sure it was a 30-day notice?
Yeah, we actually let their contract run out, maybe a year or so ago. So we've been working up with.
Okay. Also, I mean, of course, I think it's, whatever the community wants. I think there are some good things and some bad things about it. I noticed that it includes Microsoft 365, which isn't cheap. They've got off-site storage or backup, that's good. I do wonder sometimes if there's something in the middle that would have helped. But, I mean, talking to some other towns around that are using VC3, and I think we had this before we had Red Lizard, did we not?
About 6 years.
Yeah, and the only complaint I've heard is that they're not, the 24/7 sometimes is not true characteristic. And I think from a smaller company, you get more of a personal attention when you are, in a crisis. So, I mean, I think there's some good and bad, but the other thing I think about is like, I'm gonna use Leanne as an example. I think she's moved offices like, 8-10 times? So when you move an office, you gotta move everybody's computer, printer, blah, blah, blah. So are they gonna charge us extra every time we move somebody, or?
It's listed in here how that works, but there's a certain amount that we get per month, but we can't just nilly-dilly move 10 times and just say, hey, come do it. But we also pay Red Lizard for that. Yes, we definitely pay Red Lizard for that.
Yeah.
Mr. John Gentry's here with VC3 if we have any direct questions for the VC3 folks.
You got direct questions?
Yeah, just, if y'all have any direct questions, just want to be here to answer that for you.
So you do have someone on call 24/7?
365, 24/7, yeah.
And you have remote working from home?
Yep. It's a big reason for the upfront costs is Chief McGing already mentioned that we have to get our agents on all the devices so folks are able to work remote. That can be very time consuming. So that, many other things for the upfront costs, but yeah, 100% remote.
Any other questions?
So I'm just gonna ask one, that first cost was 1 year. That first cost you quote for me was 1 year, right?
$118,000.
Times three? Times three?
Not 100%. I didn't break it down. If you notice, the first 3 blocks are 3 years.
Yes.
So if you figured in, that would be your year 2 and 3 costs. And I did not do that, I apologize.
Okay.
Year 1, let's see, the last 4 blocks are 1 year.
Right.
So that would make that 118,000 per year. I can do the math right if you want to, but yeah. So
118 times 3 would be $355,404.24.
That's right.
That's over 3 years.
I know, it's what he's asking.
So it
He
is.
said it was
Yeah,
in
that's
3
what I was
years.
asking. Over 3 years.
we're paying that.
I bring those figures out for a reason. I just want our citizens to know that if they got stuff at house, it's not cheap either. So I just want to know that we're in a corporation type thing here, and ours is gonna be a little bigger and it's gonna cost a little bit more, so.
When something is set up like this in a town, who has like admin access? How is that determined?
Sure. So we have the direct access,
Mhm.
which will be similar to how you guys right now with Red Lizard.
Mhm.
And then if there's anyone specific, maybe mayor or Chief McDaniel that would like to also have access, we can work with the town in order to have that. So
You would have at least one security administrator.
that's right.
Maybe here.
Correct.
Usually. And
Usually.
some bigger corporations, depending on how big you are, there would be 2 security administrators, depending on how big your
Correct.
agency or corporation.
That's right. And we'll work with you upfront during the onboarding. Our project manager will, and how you would like to have that.
So if you have admins like that, like if it were the mayor and the town manager, do they have access to all departments, or how does that work?
They would have access to the network. Correct. Yeah.
All files in HR or whatever, they have access
And
to
I
all
would
of it.
suggest that we would certainly leave access like that to staff. So if there's 2 staff members that be part of that, but that's a staff thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree, it's a step.
That's right.
And currently, even
I agree too.
you're talking about HR currently, HR is the only HR. So it's all, it is a network that's password protected,
Yeah,
and I don't have that.
okay,
I will.
yeah. I wasn't accusing you, I was just asking how it worked, that's all.
Yeah, and like, I'll give you an example is, we would set up in the very beginning, like these users that wrote down what their permissions are without anything, but in past, and I've seen this happen before, even way back, say you needed to put a program on your computer, or certain websites you could do as well, but, it would block it, and you have your permission from whoever we set up as the permission giver, usually the manager, or HR, say yes, Susan does need this on her computer. So that's how that security would work up. Who to see what and how they do it.
So I'm gonna take you back to one more question.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna have to do a switch over. How long is switch over do you think it's gonna take us to do that?
Yeah, sure. So usually it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. It depends on when you guys decide to legally onboard. We get the signed document because we have to kick off a few things internally, but we would make it to where it's seamless. So when you are offboarding with Riddlers, or we're onboarding with VC3, so there's no downtime.
So no downtime.
And we would work with them on that as you guys offboard.
Cause we couldn't get by with 3 weeks.
I wouldn't want you to get by with 3 weeks either. Yeah, we would take care of you for sure. Great question.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Gentry.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. So from us, a motion to accept the proposals required, or what else do we need if it's
Yes, sir, if you, the agreement is seen, and you see it, then that will get you.
So I have a motion to approve the VC3 Inc. Internet Technology Proposal and Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, yes, yes. Does that mean we're gonna be locked in? No more changes? I know, but, this is what we're getting, right?
Yes, sir.
You can't change it?
No, sir.
Nothing
You
can
can change
be.
that without coming to y'all and changing the contract.
Okay, thank you. I go with it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Nay, for me, please.
One nay. Councilwoman Watson. All right. Spectrum Business Ring Central Proposal. Lots of technology to look at today.
Lots of technology. Again, this is something that we, looked at a while back, and it was not feasible. And it is for bare bones, this is basically our phones and our desks, all throughout town. Managing our phone numbers and the actual hardware. We were with a company called Void, Spectrum Void, which is not the computer Spectrum. It's a whole different company, but, we locked into a loan contract several years ago that has ended. We looked at this, we like this Ring Central, probably looked at it twice over the last couple of years. This would basically, you could choose to do between your desk phone, or your cell phone can be your desk that can transfer things over. It's got a lot of technology, potential with Green Central. At this point with our contract right now, Dalton, you might have to take a look at the numbers. They're doubling our costs. We don't sign a contract. And also, I don't really want to sign anybody a 5-year contract like that one. That makes these guys actually less expensive because they're gonna fill our costs. So this one is another better technology at a better price. And there's a lot of numbers on there too. William kind of jumbled up, I did that math. This is $1,104 for all of our doesn't cover cell phones, but it does make your office. So that's numbers you see on your website.
Questions, comments? Hearing none. Are we okay with leaving this one on consent?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Special event policy.
Let's take a look at our street closure board in our special event policy. In the past about year and a half, we've kind of almost had, I would say, a internal policy, which I don't like that, but just common sense of our downtown area does not need to close very often. Our downtown area, on Saturdays, Sundays, Friday nights, like now, most any day, it is jam-packed. It's parking a long ways away to get where you want to go, which is a great problem for us to have. Adding in section 6.172 is the last sentence in red. Street closures are reserved for town sponsored events. And that does say, it says streets, not just downtown. So, when we would be able to close the road, when you guys said we would like to sponsor this event. Couple examples, Hollis Railroad Days, that is a Selma event. You guys sponsor Rock and Roll on Block one day. If you had a smaller event that maybe you just we wouldn't want to be a part of, or, we would not allow that road closure. You still have events, just not the road closure.
And that circles back to the question about the stop, sip and shop.
Yes.
So again, we would of course then need to circle back and consider if that's something that we would want to sponsor, what type of frequency, and then go from there. That certainly leaves a very clear path for everybody on how a street closure works in the town of Selma. Questions, comments?
How would this affect the Boys and Girls Club run?
That's a sponsored event. Two things there, I guess we sort of don't really close all the roads, but it has grown so much, I think we're going to work some detours and such as that. So, it is a sponsored event, so under this ordinance, if it was passed, they would be able to close portions.
And are there charges for that? Even if it's
Anytime a group uses our, we've got any fee schedule, like, if we have to use police, we have to use, barricades or what have you, there's charges, or whatever the event is. We have to discuss that with, level of sponsorship announced.
And frankly, as a sponsored event, the Selma Railroad Days 5K, as things change and other partners come on board, it would still be a town Selma sponsored event. But those agreements would be made from year to year as those sponsored events occurred. It was a wonderful problem that we had with, I think, 195 signups for the Polar Bear Run. 170 or so actually hit the road, and we had a lot more than we expected to have to worry about in the middle of January, running down the street.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to take a look at that too. In my area, is it with the traffic and stuff now?
We just got careful with the amount of runners we had in the traffic. We'll have to close them. I hate to say it, I don't like the word close, detour. Because the traffic's got to roll. I mean, we can't, close down, 3.5 miles of road for 4 hours, but we can't detour, get it back.
Well, I understand you detour, but I can't detour out the back of Bennett and Pecan and stuff to get out, so.
Part of that conversation is, of course, being a sponsored event, we then also are gonna have to beef up our town participation as far as the amount of people that are required, the amount of control that was required, the police on the ground, Parks and Rec staff on the ground, there's gonna have to be more. And so, for instance, somebody is going to have to be there to make sure you can get out of the neighborhood,
Yeah.
no matter what.
If I gotta go to work, I gotta go to work.
Gotta go. So that is part of this conversation, understanding that our business, when it comes to these runs and closing down roads or celebrations, has to get tighter as we get busier in town, so.
Has there like always been a charge for like the Boys and Girls Club run? I just wondered, I don't know.
No, I mean, and what I'm talking about charges, just makes it a fee schedule. Like, in the past, if, but the boy, the event that you might talk about, in the past, there would have been charges or something like that, but this would come out of the gate act, it was town sponsored event.
Mm-hmm. So if it's town sponsored, there, I was just looking, it says you gotta recoup for personnel, equipment, supplies, blah,
If
blah.
you think about, this, I'm gonna give you a good example, I ain't trying to draw it out, but the level of commitment that the town's willing to do for events such as Rock and Roll,
Right.
a really good example. We spend a lot of money to put our staff stage up, staff does a lot of things, but, it's their event, and they plan it, and they run it.
Right.
But, the commitment that the council gives is, we'll close the road, we'll put stage up. That's about it, but I mean, sanitation and all the other things that go along with it. But that's the level of commitment, so we would have to commit to whatever the event that we want to sponsor. So, when the Boys and Girls Club comes to you and says, hey, I want to do this, just like this young lady did, she said, this is what I need. And you guys would say, roll, or, what level of commitment, or even who you want to sponsor.
At the end of the day, it's a business agreement.
Understood, I just wanted to kind of understand how it was gonna affect them, because I know we've had a rigmarole about that, so I want to make sure I ask the right questions. So we really don't know what kind of charges they'd be, like if the town was agreeing to the stage and the, whatever the town wasn't willing to sponsor, then they'd be required to pay for those things. Gotcha.
We had a really good one, but, staff commitment on weekends. We realize we're 24/7 time, and we run it 24/7, but, we could be here every weekend.
Yes.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
It's already hard enough to keep downtown looking good on Sunday because there's so many people here on Friday, so. So that level of commitment is something that you can.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion to adopt this updated special event policy?
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Last month, you guys, HMGE, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which is stormwater related. Moving forward with that, we'll be getting this resolution passed, about being authorized to move forward. Applicant agent resolution, to move forward with application for grant mitigation. Motion, just a motion to approve.
Is everybody leaving that on consent?
Yes.
Cool. All right, personnel policy amendment, Article 5, conditions of employment.
All right, good afternoon, and I'll try to be brief. Again, this is going back into the policy, page 87, I think, on the agenda. And then the actual proposed policy is page 88. And again, keep in mind that, large towns, small towns occasionally have a situation where there's a family member involved. So when you look at this, for the most part, the employment of family members is not a good idea, but then again, what happens if you do have members? The policy you have in terms of the amendment is consistent with what we had before, except it's an update. And if you ask, well, where does the update come from? Do you just make this stuff up and just, let's look at it and move forward? It's really a series of going through and researching the current state law, which that changes a lot. It's not illegal. The advice given under the School of Government blogs are do it carefully and put it in your policy and plan for it if you do it. And secondarily, you go out and look, well, what are other towns doing? And the policy you have on page 88 is really consistent. It's close to the town of Garner, the town of Blandis, which is right outside of Charlotte, very close to that policy. And there was one more, but again, it's similar to how it's worded in terms of how it operates. One of the recent blogs from the School of Government, I thought it was really interesting. It said, if you consider this, it basically is a situation where, because of, especially with smaller towns, you get a lot of talented, dedicated public servants and all of this, and sometimes it penalizes the town for not allowing it to happen. And this is the important quote: boards or councils have authority to make policies which balance these concerns as they relate to employment and appointment decisions. So what you've got in the policy is a situation clearly at the higher stage. The higher stage is something you take a look at because it's right there in front of you, because that's the higher stage. And that's part of how it reads. But in our case in Selma, you got a situation where there's we'll just say an internal promotion with an already existing employee. So it's not really a hire issue. It's an employment moving up through the ranks through a promotion. So what the policy is designed to do is, assuming you get there, and the organizational chart is to a degree something to go back and look at, but that's been taken into consideration, and you identify the employee that is the issue, and it's the segregation, basically, and that's the way the current ordinance reads, where if you can't be in direct supervisory control, there is another person where you report to, and again, there's really no altercation, no changes in the town policy. It's just that the supervisory role, this employee is segregated and put with another delegated supervisor. That's what's in front of you. If you got any questions, hopefully I've got the answer, but I'd be glad to do that. If you want to amend it and adopt this or do something different.
Council, questions, comments?
I guess my first question would be is what prompted this, really? I hear our council say that, in bigger towns, that what we're looking at is, that you can prohibit the employment of persons who are immediate family members to the mayor, the town council, and the town attorney. But what our policy says now is that you can only, you prohibit hiring people that are related to the mayor, the town council, the town manager, the finance director, the human resources director, or the town attorney. All of those are major compartments in our government, and I think that in a much smaller town, it creates a really precarious position for us to put ourselves in. You have someone that's a town manager, and we hire somebody under them, they're always going to answer to that town manager. I don't care how you draw that organizational chart, that subordinate employee is always going to answer to a town manager. So that's a good example of, in a small town, it creates a lot of infighting among the people under the manager because they see that as favoritism. So I just caution us about limiting this. I think it's really good to leave it as it is. And this was amended one time already, and in January of 2023. And, I don't know, I just think it's wise to leave it as small a town as we are. In Garner, it might not be that big of a deal, but in a small town like Selma, I think you have to be real careful about those things.
Check. Dalton, was it amended? I know there was consideration that was discussed, but I don't know if it was amended, actually adopted in 23.
It was amended in 23.
It was, okay.
Yeah, the document was amended.
Thank you.
Thank you, though, Chip. I don't know, I think, we hear all the time, good old boy system. Don't want a good old boy system. Well, one way to create a good old boy system is start hiring all your relatives. So I just think we gotta be really careful with it. I just don't see anything wrong with how it is.
Any other comments, questions?
Just don't create any loopholes.
And I would say this, it's an exception, which you can say, well, it's a loophole. Is it illegal? I can say to you as your legal counsel, it's not. I've got some statutes, very limited cases, some limited case law that says it's not. But if it is a family member, like we've said, be cautious and make sure there's segregation, not direct supervision, from the employee, the relative, all of that. So, but I hear you.
Any other comments, questions? Do I have a motion to adopt the updated personnel policy we have before us?
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Nay.
Nay.
2 nays. Councilman Overby, Councilman Watson. Next up, we've got NCDOT Engineering Agreement, US Highway 301. Oh, man with the sharp tie.
Briefer than anybody.
Hey, my man.
So what we have is a DOT agreement, reimbursement agreement, similar to what we did for Buffalo Road. This is for the upcoming work. Excuse me, this is just for the engineering work for the 301 project, and this will be with Gateway Engineering, our neighbors.
And if it helps, it's the same thing we did, exactly what we did, Buffalo Road, the pole moving project, identical.
Same as Rick's Road.
Yeah, and this will be separate from anything for the wet utilities. Right now, this is just for overhead power lines. I'll have another one shortly for the wet utilities.
Everybody good with leaving this on consent?
Yeah.
Cool. Electric line extension fee schedule update.
It's me again.
Yes, sir.
This is to adopt the fees associated with the policy that was passed last meeting. Just asked that we adopt this fee schedule amendment.
Everybody good with putting that on consent? Thank you, sir.
Brief.
My man. Position control update, we wanted to pull that off consent. Somebody give us a brief overview of that one.
So there's 2 things in here, and got Calvin, not so, first one is a, name change only, no change in rank. Y'all approved, last year a fire inspector position, and believe it or not, fire inspectors are real important for their call. And as soon as we talked about changing the fire marshal, we started having applications. So this is a name change only for that position. Number 2, the former manager made some changes in Parks and Rec about positions and never updated the position control. So this is how we're operating, have been for several months, but it just never came out of position control.
Any questions? All right, we have gone ahead and pulled off consent, so do I have a motion to approve the position control update?
So moved.
Second.
Give that one to Councilman Whitley. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Cool. Certificate of Sufficiency, resolution setting a public hearing. This is just setting a public hearing, I assume, for next month meeting too?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Everybody good with that on consent?
Good.
All right. Woo! That takes us down to a consent, nope,
Item 8J, the amended resolutions.
8J, amended resolutions. Dalton?
So before you, there are four amended resolutions. Item number 1 was just an incorrect date listed. We're just bringing that back for transparency. These finance resolutions, the offered were included in the previous packet. However, the figure listed in the actual resolutions were incorrect. So we're just bringing these back to confirm the record is correct.
Questions?
Yeah, ready for discussion? Mr. Gaskell, I promise I'm not gonna talk about this forever.
Oh, we aren't at the discussion yet.
Oh, okay, well, let me know when.
So if we don't have any questions about the updates to these, do I have a motion to adopt the amended resolutions?
So moved.
So,
Now we're discussing.
Okay, so, the first one I'm gonna talk about is the resolution of censure. Of course, I agree with Mr. Gaskell. The only true statement on that paper is the one they're trying to change tonight. It was stamped that the decision was made on February the 2nd that I was to be censured and that I was guilty of all these things that Mayor McAllister put out there. That was decided on the 2nd of February. But my hearing was not until the 5th of February. That's really interesting. And so my attorney brought that to my attention. The decision was made before I was ever even brought before council. And I would just comment that the very first thing I was accused of was misusing my title. It took Facebook less than an hour to prove that Mayor McAllister himself, as well as another councilman, can't remember his name off the top of my head. Hang on. Bruce McKay had done the very same thing. So the censure started out being not worth the paper it was written on. So, you know, I went through it with a fine-tooth comb. Every little item that was on there was absolutely just assumptions by the mayor that I was collecting evidence, which I have a right to do. And everything else was based off that. It was all political stuff that really had nothing to do with anything I was doing. I was doing research, which is what you elected me to do. And it involved the turnover rate in our town. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But you know, I think about sometimes the things he accused me of. It's like throwing out a bunch of stuff and seeing what sticks. Inappropriate comments in town council. I don't think I've ever made an inappropriate comment. However, I think back to the December meeting when the mayor used an acronym that many of you probably didn't know what it meant, but I did. The sugar honey iced tea. You know, I didn't think that was very appropriate, not very classy for an elected official. So, you know, they can change the date all they want to, but the fact remains that I was accused of things that I had not done. And 3 of these council members decided I was guilty without ever asking me the very first question about those things. So, change the date if you like, it doesn't change the fact.
Would you like to speak to the date on the page?
It was simply an incorrect date on my end, so we'll want to make that for the record, but.
Easy to say that, but it was already stamped on the 2nd and entered into
Already
acceptance.
Did you stamp something on the 2nd?
I stamped it following her signature that night, so.
The date on it was the 2nd.
Date on it was the 2nd, but it wasn't.
But did you actually stamp it on the 2nd of February?
Oh, that's hearsay. How do we know that? And according to my attorney, it was stamped and entered into record on the 2nd. So there you go.
Any other discussion? All right, got a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor?
Of
adopting the amended resolutions. It'll be J now on.
That you're changing the
8J.
date on the censure.
So we're adjusting the resolutions that needed dates corrected for the Sentra, for the Ford Explorer, Ford F-250, Ford F-750. So we've got a motion, second on the table. Discussion, all those in favor?
What were you saying, the dates of, or something?
You
Dates
were
were typed wrong.
Okay.
updating.
He's
our
updating dates, yeah.
Mhm, That's all.
We
I
know.
have a question.
Okay.
Does the
Okay.
original remain part of the record? Okay, thank you.
So motion on second on the table, all those in favor? Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
2 nays, Councilman Watson,
Imagine.
Councilman Overby.
Take my motion and you won't have to vote on it.
Unfortunately, procedurally, to be frank, we do have to vote on it because amendments do have to be made to incorrect documents no matter what. All right, so with that being said, we've got a consent agenda that has approval of minutes, Recreation Advisory Board application for Sarah Harris, Planning Board application for Florence Rayner and Dennis House, financing fire truck, which we received Monday. Map amendment for 1420 River Road. Text amendment for Chapter 17, Article 5. Spectrum Business Ring Central proposal, FEMA hazard mitigation, NCDOT engineering, electric line extension fee schedule, and a certificate of sufficiency public hearing setting. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
So,
Any discussion?
Did you get your questions answered about the Explorers?
Oh, no, I did not.
That's something we need.
Well, we've already gone past that, it's already been amended, but just to make sure we're clear on the record, that was a change of figures on that, correct?
I can talk to you after.
All right, motion and second on the table for consent agenda, all those in favor? Motion and second? Motion and second.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Nay.
Aye. So we've got 1 nay for the consent agenda. We get down to council members' report and recommendations. So we're gonna start on the end. Councilman Overby will come around.
So I'd like you to bring us up on the VT, Foods in Pine Level. Are they in, I have heard they're gone out of business, have they?
BT Foods is in Selma, North Carolina.
Yeah, but it's down towards Pine Level.
They are currently operating as a
So are we paying them $50,000 a month as of today? No, okay.
So, and let me just remind, we are on reports and recommendations, so we need to present reports and make recommendations. Questions about these things either need to be put on the agenda so we can discuss items like that, or be made at other times, but that is
I mean, we've done it, ever since I've been here, we've been able to discuss, so.
and we'll
Go
touch
ahead.
base on that as well.
Go ahead.
Councilwoman Watson, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Whitley, ooh, I'm tired, I apologize.
Well, as usual, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and spending these 2 hours with us. We've got a lot accomplished tonight, and I'm very pleased. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your week.
Thank you. Councilwoman Whitley. Watson.
Out of respect for Mr. Gaskell, I'm gonna accept his, proposal, and I'm gonna just be quiet about things that have been said about me, and we'll move on. Yeah, thank you for coming.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Joe Scarborough.
I just like to say again, thank you guys for coming out tonight. And we have discussed a lot of things tonight. And like everything, everybody got their own opinion about everything, but I'd like to say, I appreciate you guys. And as I always say, in this town of Selma, we're gonna keep the main thing, and it's Selma.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, Mayor's report and recommendation. First thing that we've got to take a look at is we've got to take a look at a DAV agreement first. I think we discussed that with the disabled veterans about the possibility of using space in the town of Selma. Did we get an agreement polished up?
Absolutely, and, yeah, it just came about, She did a really good job working with, the crew. We once allowed him to use, it's our place. They meet 3 times a month, a couple hours a day, and they have a, support deal for veterans once a week. And that part of the day, we're proposing that they're able to use that, $4 per year. Everything else is pretty much the same. Basically, we're exempt, they're exempt. They gotta have insurance, that type of thing. So I ain't gonna do this thing. I apologize for figuring this out as late as, what do you think? 60 days to, that we can, our policy anytime.
Do we have copies of it in hand? Do you want to take a look at it,
No,
Councilman? Pitt?
we're in discussion. We're not even into voting on anything else. We done passed that.
Do I have a motion to approve the agreement, and I do recommend that we do approve the agreement for DAV. Do I have a motion to approve the agreement for DAV to use space at Harrison?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right.
Nay.
One nay, Councilman Overby. All right, and then we also have, of course, we're coming to a very special time where one of our longtime police department members, how long has Chief Jamie Hughes been with our police department?
It'll be 20 years.
I was gonna say, I thought we were getting close to 24. I'm gonna say 24. I think we're coming around 24.
I think it's 20.
Yeah, that's a serious commitment to a community. So I have a resolution declaring the badge and service weapon carried by Police Chief Jamie Hughes surplus and awarding it to them on his retirement. Whereas NCGS 2187.2 provides that retiring members of municipal law enforcement agencies may receive, at the time of their retirement, the badge worn or carried by the officer during their service within the municipality. Whereas NCGS 20-187.2 further provides that the governing body of the municipal law enforcement agency may, in its discretion, award to a retiring member the sidearm of such returning members. And whereas Jamie Hughes has served as a member of the Town of Selma Police Department for a period of, we're gonna say 25 years, and is retiring from the Town of Selma Police Department effective March 31st, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Selma that the badge, service weapon as described as Glock number with a serial number which we won't share here, utilized by Jamie Hughes during his career be declared surplus and awarded to him on the occasion of his retirement in the amount of and for the amount of $1. Be it further resolved that appreciation be expressed to Jamie Hughes for the dedicated service rendered by him during his employment with the Town of Selma, North Carolina, adopted on this 10th day of March. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Got a first, got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, Chief Hughes. Thank you. 25 years anywhere is almost unheard of these days. And certainly this is a small token that is greatly deserved by this man for his service to this community. All right, let's see here. Of course, as always, we do have advisory board vacancies. If you are interested in joining advisory board, doing the civil service for the town, please see Dalton, our clerk, for details. Wells and water main construction will be going underway shortly. I'm sure you see the lines all over the roads outside of downtown and the equipment sitting on the side of the road waiting to bust up some stuff. That is, again, part of that conversation, even with the CDBG conversation, of significant expansion of our water capacity, and it certainly couples well with the amount of sewer work we have done in recent days. And we do have a grace period ordinance that we discussed in last month that we need to go ahead and see if we're okay with adopting that grace period ordinance. Dalton, do we have that in hand? We do? Oh yeah, here we go. So with that, the thing we definitely need to consider with that grace period ordinance, for that, the fee schedule for the Board of Adjustment, is everybody okay with dropping that down to $100 related to Board of Adjustment periods instead of that $500 that we were discussing previously for code enforcement cases that began before January 1, 2026?
Yeah, just let them make sure they realize that this is for the grace period only. Moving forward,
January 1,
going back to the 500.
That's right. Do I have a motion to adopt this ordinance to temporarily amend the town of Selma federal schedule fees for the Board of Adjustment Act?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm just gonna make a statement that I think $500 is ridiculous at any time, but I certainly will vote for the grace period.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good stuff. Hopefully we get quite a few things worked out in the town of Selma. And to circle back to some of the comments at the beginning of the meeting, code enforcement is important. Code enforcement has to have teeth. We had a wonderful period where I think we did some type of code enforcement, but we also found lots of people were just cool with paying off their fine and continuing leaving the town of Selma looking not great. I think we see the difference today. Facts don't lie. We have to be proud of our community. We have to be serious about being proud of our community. And if we're not, then we slap people on the hand for junking up our community. If we're serious about it, put some teeth behind what we say. I believe we have put teeth behind what we say. And by putting teeth behind what we say, we are beginning to see the difference. We've got a public works department, a sanitation crew that is doing an amazing job going through our town streets, Selma, North Carolina. If you look down these streets and see the work of that leaf vac and that street sweeper and the cleanliness that is coming with our sanitation operations, you can't tell me we have not come a long way. We are rolling. We're doing it correctly, and we're encouraging more and more people to move to, invest in, and participate in the town of Selma. We do have an interesting problem. We might be victims of our own success because it is getting interesting parking in downtown Selma now, particularly on Friday, Saturday, and sometimes even on a Sunday. We do have quite a bit of traffic on 70 and 301. It's getting, quite frankly, uncomfortable. We're becoming victims of our own success. But at the same time, the balance of, do we want a vibrant, lively town that folks want to visit? Or do we have the opposite problem? That conversation about keeping the north clear is to help mitigate some of that so that us that live in the traditional side of Selma, North Carolina, don't necessarily have to hit traffic all the time, particularly on that portion of 301 going north, particularly going out back towards 70 on the backside of River Road, Oak Street. But as we see with the upcoming expansion of Buffalo Road that we just talked about, traffic on Buffalo Road has already hit tilt. Things have changed. And change is hard. We have a hard time adjusting to the fact that we can't do things the way we used to do them. This has to be a professional organization. We have to make professional decisions. We actually have serious things to talk about that really will affect our future. You see it throughout this state with many communities that are facing challenges because of a lack of seriousness. We just read about a community who found out how much money they don't have. And that's a conversation we've had several times over throughout this state in the last 2 years. Thankfully, we're not having that conversation. Look, there's a good chance this year through our audit process, it's probably going to come in late because we have so much money we're dealing with right now that we do not have the staff to keep up with it. And beyond that, our auditors, Malden Jenkins. People left that office in the middle of their audit, and they are auditing probably half the state as it is, and the money's getting bigger for everybody. That's a fact. That's reality. But at the end of the day, we have to become a very professional organization to deal with the business that is coming before us. It's real business. Target has no interest in who we used to throw tomatoes at when we were growing up. I assure you, they're here to make $1. And we have to be mindful that capitalism means they'll come into town and make $1 no matter what. And if we don't pay attention to our town and take care of our people, somebody else will make decisions for us. It's a fact. We see it happen in communities left and right. So when we talk about the inner workings of a council and our work to deal with our own membership, something that has to be done in public. Don't get me wrong. Would we prefer to have these conversations in private and do things behind closed doors? We'd love to. And lots of things probably happened behind closed doors in the past. We cannot do that anymore. We have people that have lots of questions about how it is something was allowed to happen. How did this happen? How did this get here? How were they allowed to build that? Conversations behind closed doors that we just can't have anymore. So, as we move to being that small, big town, it takes a certain amount of seriousness in our deliberations. And if you're not serious about the town of Selma, this might not be the place for you. No closed session?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?